In 2017, just 2% of venture capital went to women founders, and the statistics are even worse when it comes to women of color. This is Ladies Who Lead, and I'm joined by Stephanie Lampkin, who is trying to change that with her company, Blendor. Blendor is a recruiting platform that anonymizes job candidates to remove race and gender from the equation. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you were inspired to start Blendor after you started applying to jobs, and you were told once you were not technical enough for a coding job or a technical job. How did you get from that point of being rejected to where you are now?
Well, the company that I was interviewing for, I found out that out of 55,000 employees, they actually only had 12 African-American women in technical roles.
Wow.
And the narrative was, it's a pipeline problem. We just can't find qualified women and people of color. And here I was with both a Stanford and MIT degree being told that I was not qualified enough. So yeah, I wanted to create a platform that could sort of debunk that myth and help companies find the talent that they claim doesn't exist.
One of the things that you have talked about a lot, which I think is super interesting and inspiring, is that you said your aunt was your role model growing up. She studied computer science. Yes. And so for you, growing up, you saw her and you just thought a computer scientist was a woman of color. You didn't know any different. So how has having her example helped you in your field move forward? Yeah,
I just don't think I suffer from the same imposter syndrome that unfortunately a lot of women who don't have similar role models do. So when I go into a space, even if it's male dominated, even if I'm the only minority, I don't attribute that to me being less than. And if I fail, I don't attribute that to me being a woman or person of color. And so it just gives me the confidence, I think, to navigate the space and kind of stick around.
Something else your company which is super cool, is you rank tech companies on their diversity. Yes. So please tell me, what have you found?
So a surprising number of companies without women and people of color on their board and or executive team. I wanted to give a ranking that sort of went beyond just the diversity numbers and dug into like, okay, what benefits do you have? Maternity leave, childcare assistance, what organizations are you partnering with? So yeah, I was just really surprised to see such a huge difference between like large, older technical companies like Microsoft, HP, Intuit versus Facebook, Google. Like the things that they're doing are so different, and also the level of representation that they have on their board and executive teams.
Can you dig into that a little bit? What's so different about it?
Yeah, so HP has a ton of women and even women of color on their board, versus I think Facebook just hired a person of color, an African-American man, after what, I don't know, Facebook's been around forever.
Yeah.
And then, and then there's some companies like, the furniture company, Wayfair, right? They have no women on their board or executive team, last I checked. Maybe on their executive team, but yeah, and it's like, this is probably a company that has predominantly female customers.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
I mean, aren't they catering to women? How can you have that if you don't have any women doing your company?
It's just this newer wave of tech, post.com boom has sort of considered diversity to be an afterthought. And I think it's just a lot of the culture around build things and move fast, which is oftentimes hire your roommates and your frat buddies and, get things done, versus ensuring that your company reflects the broader population that you are trying to get to buy your products and such.
Right. You mentioned in your TED Talk that a white male who founds a company that fails raises on average $1.3 million, where a black female founded company will raise on average $36,000. Obviously, that's a huge disparity. What's it like to see men kind of failing up in this industry, and what can we do to kind of change that?
Yeah, and I just want to shout out Project Diane for getting those statistics. Honestly, I think we just need to create an environment via capital to get more women in positions give them the ability to create and fail and succeed. Like, I don't think we have enough examples of women like Katrina Lake, who just IPO'd at Stitch Fix, and other like really successful exits that sort of send the signal to the market that these are people who can create really amazing things.
Yeah, for sure. There is some good news. On Wednesday, Digital Undivided published a report that the number of female Black female-founded startups has doubled since 2016, which is obviously great. You know, I think we're making a little bit of progress. Why do you think that is?
I think in part from things like that, like, right, the first step is admitting you have a problem and really putting some data behind it. I think also we're just seeing a lot more programs and initiatives through accelerators focused on women. You have like YC Female Founders Conference, a lot more funds, a lot more mentorship programs. So I think we're like heading in the right direction in terms of just enablement.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think can be done to make more women who have great ideas succeed?
I'm big on capital, access to money. I think we have a lot of great programs and boot camps that are focused on teaching women the know-how. But the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of Silicon Valley CEOs that just came up with something in their dorm room and launched and were successful without any sort of formal training or MBA. So I want to get away from this idea that women need this like remedial help and training to launch a company, and focus more on how we can give access to capital so that they can just put something out there. The best path to success is failure, and so the more failed startups you have, the closer you are to really hitting that big deal.
And truly, like we said, a lot of men have been able to fail multiple times.
Yes.
We hear about it all the time.
So much failure.
Zero, anyone? Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Up next, Saeed sits down with Jada Pinkett Smith.